Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Possibilities. I'm your host Danny Steeves and I'm just thrilled to have you with me tonight. I know it's been a while but I am um just thrilled to be here tonight. Um Tonight we're gonna have uh, a conversation about how to get um get disabled people involved in the arts, specifically through a program who that I am particularly um honored to be involved with. Um, the almost the almost famous players is a group out of Wingham, Ontario, Canada. And what they do is they give people with disabilities a space to show, show off their talents regardless of their ability or what have you. So I'm gonna be joined by two of the co- coordinators of that program, um, Kathy Clark and Kevin. Uh, no, uh, excuse me. Um, Kathy Hearn and Kevin Scott. Um, Now, Kathy has been involved with the almost famous players for a long time now, and um, the, the almost the almost famous players have been going for 21 years. They just wrapped up their 21st show, which I had the honor of hosting. So I'm just thrilled to have Kathy and Kevin on the show tonight, and we're gonna tell you all about uh, what the almost famous players is all about. I don't want to give too much away because it's a fascinating story, so I'll let Kathy and Kevin tell us more when they get here. So sit back and relax and enjoy this conversation with Kathy Hood and Kevin Scott. They're not quite here yet, so what I'll do is take a bit of a break and be right back with my special guest for the night. Be right back, everyone.
Sorry, hopefully you can hear.
So welcome back to Possibilities, everyone. Joining me now is Kathy Hood and Kevin Scott. Are the, they are a part of the team that is behind this great organization in Wingham, Ontario, as I mentioned in my intro, called the Almost Famous Players. So, welcome, possibilities, Kevin and Kathy.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, yes.
My pleasure. I, I, I wanted to know with you, Kathy. How did take me back to the very beginning. How did the almost famous players get started in the first place?
Well, I actually wasn't involved at the very, very beginning. That was my coworker and friend, Julie Kewick, who had started the group. And it all started because a person that we supported by the name of Robert had a dream, and he always loved to perform, and we would record him doing his own little music videos and stuff like that. And Julie just came up with the idea for the Almost Famous Players, and got a group together of like-minded people. And here we are 20 years later on our 21st year. So,
wow. Wow. That is awesome. So no, we might be jumping the gun a little bit here, but we'll be jumping back and forth a lot tonight, I'm sure, but for those for my audience who's never heard of the Almost Famous Players, what can they expect when they come to one of your performances?
well, good question. So essentially, the cast members, we're going to start back up in September, and we practice our choreographed moves from September until April. And it's a dance troupe for individuals that have been labeled with having some kind of intellectual disability, along with some other volunteer cast members. So yeah, we have a great team that helps choreograph songs, because I am not that good and I can't do it all myself. So thank goodness for other people's creative minds. But essentially we practice from September to April, like I said, and then come the spring, we put on 3 performances, and no 2 shows are the same. And, we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But the players all do such a great job, and you can tell how hard they've worked all year long. So,
yeah. What is the most rewarding part of the whole process? I'll start with you, Kathy, and then we'll let Kevin chime in.
I have lots of rewarding parts, actually. So, just seeing some of the players come out of their shells. One of the cast members is a bit of a tomboy, but she joined Almost Famous Players, and she would get her hair done, she'd get her makeup done, she'd wear a dress, things like that. Just the sheer fact that they get on stage in front of a few hundred people for each show, that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
So, and just trying to be able to bring out each person's strengths in certain songs and certain moves. that's pretty rewarding for me. And then, not gonna lie, that week of the shows is pretty stressful, so I kind of celebrate when it's over because it's a big relief that that it is done and all of our hard work has paid off.
And Kevin, same question to you.
Yeah, I echo Kathy's remarks too. It's very rewarding watching everybody perform, the excitement during the show, the thrill of the show, and then when it's over, and how excited everybody is when it was a success, and just how hard people work. And we see from the beginning to the end, how the song started out and it was a struggle, and then by the time it's showtime, everybody nails their performances, and it's very rewarding to see that happen, and the smiles on their faces after, and the reception we get from the crowd too is fantastic. So.
Yeah. So
hearing things from family members, I'm thinking of one player in particular that her brother made a comment that he loves to see her smile again, and it was kind of around the time that she got involved with Almost Famous, and that she kind of started coming back out of her shell. So that those are nice things to hear.
Yeah. So on average, how many people do you have in the cast?
Oh, in the cast. That's good. I thought you were going to say in the audience, and I'm like, I don't know. I'd say it's usually around 25 to 30.
Yeah.
And that's including volunteer cast and myself. Because we get up and dance sometimes too. So.
Yeah.
And people behind the scenes, of course, too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So many people behind the scenes. There's there's at least 6 people helping with costume changes. And then we have, sound people, lights people, so the costume committee, they put on a lot of work and stuff too. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into the performance, but the cast members itself, the number is probably about 25 to 30.
Yeah, 25 to 30 cast members, and does that fluctuate from year to year, or does that stay pretty solid?
It stays pretty solid. We have a couple people on our wait list right now. So just kind of waiting to see if some members are wanting to come back because, everything has a season, and some seasons come to an end for some people. Yeah. So just wanting to make sure that the interest is still there for everyone. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it does stay pretty status quo.
And Kathy, you and I go
way back.
You and I go way back. Did you get involved with the Almost Famous players because you were a support worker at first, or what? How did that come about?
Yeah. So, the Almost Famous players started off, like I said, in 2004. And, so at that time there was maybe 10, 15 tops cast members. And it was students from the high school and a few, individuals from community living. And then, and we just had a boombox on the stage. And so it was just really for friends and family. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. Of course, it was a big deal for the individuals that were involved, but it just grew in scale. So I actually became involved when I was supporting a gentleman that went to practice every week. And it wasn't until after my maternity leave that I came back and I was doing that. So 18 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And Kevin, how long have you been involved?
I would guess around 12 years. It's been a while. I guess it was, maybe 14 years. I'm not even sure. We're
not very good with numbers.
I was supporting an individual that was at the show, and my part of the job was to bring him to the show, and I got invited up to fill in one week, and then it just took from there. All of a sudden, I found myself in a song, and then every year since, I've been doing it and loving it.
That is awesome. Let's talk about a bit more about the show. Like you mentioned how you dance to choreograph tracks and then you choreograph it. Like Kathy, how does that choreograph and casting for every number work?
Well,
yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
I do a lot of YouTubing. YouTube is a great source of dance moves, and We Dance is actually, I've used that before too, to kind of take bits and pieces from numbers and kind of try to blend it into something that would work for us. Don't tell people that I rip off other people's moves, but anyway, I do. So for doing people's numbers though, I try really, really hard to make it fair. So the last few years, especially, I've kind of had a rule of thumb that each player would be in 3 to 5 songs. And I try really hard to stick with that. And because I feel that everybody comes out every week and they put in what they can. And so it's only fair if they get the same representation as everybody else. Yeah. I am not a strong dancer. And so, just because I don't necessarily have the same abilities as other people, I would hope, since I have the same commitment, that I would be able to get the same recognition. So I try really hard to make it fair for everybody. And the cast members and family members get a say in the songs that we do every year. Yeah. Sometimes I have to X-nay songs. But because we do try to make it for a demographic of individuals that come to see our shows. So, they don't necessarily want to hear the most modern music. And sometimes the cast members like that music. So sometimes we just kind of have to compromise sometimes.
Kathy works incredibly hard choreographing, puts in many hours coming up with songs and moves. And I don't think people appreciate the work she puts into it behind the scenes.
No, I agree with you, Kevin. So
I drag Kevin into it too, just so you know.
On that note, when do you start not rehearsing but choreographing for the next year's show?
Now. So the last couple of years, we have tried to really get a good base of songs that we want to be able to kick off with in September. And so, yeah, we start listening to the songs that the players have, suggested. And then we kind of try to figure out which ones will work. And we start to think of moves now in the summer when we're taking our break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's hard to figure out what songs to cut and what songs to keep because
it is.
It's very hard.
Yeah, knowing, as you say, you have a big demographic of audiences, so you like to play the last thing as well.
It is funny because we do,
Yeah.
if you're in the car listening to music, you'll start putting moves together in your head and then coming up with stuff just even when you're driving around. It's always kind of in the back of your head. But what move can we do to this song if we did it, sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kathy, I think I know the answer to this, but, what keeps you coming back year after year after year?
What do you think my answer would be? I want to hear your answer.
Because you love what you do and you love the people who are involved.
Yeah, exactly. I love to see the things that then I'm going to start crying. Yeah, the pride that they take in things and seeing them shine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
She's very passionate.
yeah, and Kevin, same question to you. I know you haven't been involved for as long as she does, or she has, but what keeps you coming back year after year?
Same thing as Kathy, but it is a lot of fun too. It is fun to get out there and perform, and even during the practices, you kind of interview. I don't know, you shoot little barbs at each other. We talk about hockey. We catch up. Like, it's a good way to keep connected with everybody. I did work with community living, and now I don't. So it's a good way to kind of keep in touch with all the guys, even though I'm not working. And it kind of keeps you close to everybody. And it's just a fun process, despite the stress when the shows get close. That's not so fun. But in general, it's a fun process, just putting everything together and watching it all come together over the 10 months.
Okay, great. Kathy, what has been the response from the community over the past 21 years, give or take? Yeah.
So since we I can't remember the year, but we got a Trillium grant. So that's when we were able to take our show on the road, and that's when we were able to move past the boombox days to get like sound equipment and that kind of thing. So that's when we did really try to open it up to the community. And every year, we moved from, I think maybe the first year that we kind of did that, we had like 2 shows, and then we had to move to 3 shows. And like each year, the theater is pretty full, if not packed. So I remember one year that I was involved, we actually had to turn people away because there was no more room. That wasn't when I was artistic director, but still, that's a great feeling for people to be able to see for people to be able to see that it's not just to go see the people with disabilities dance on stage, right? Like they're there to get entertained, and they support us so well. And there's people that come to all 3 shows that aren't even family members of the cast. So that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
I hate to bring this up, but if someone is watching this and they think, oh, it's just a group of individuals with disabilities doing dances to canned music, what would you say to them? And how do we change that narrative if they have that opinion?
I would like them to come to one of the shows and just see if at the end, if they still think it's just people, a group of people dancing that have a disability. I think it's pretty evident the work that each and every player puts into it. And I don't think that they would go to another production and say, oh, it's just a bunch of high school students, or, oh, it's just a bunch of, mediocre actors putting on a show.
Yeah.
So, again, like if they came to a production, I feel like it would just change their mind.
And we push the guys just for that purpose. It's like, it's not just, they're not coming here just because they want to come here to be entertained. We have to put on a show, and we take ownership of that too. And the guys do too. They want to put on a good show. They want to entertain. It's not just to come and watch. People come to be entertained, and there are people that are entertained for sure.
Yeah. Either one of you can take this question. How does the cast stay motivated? Like, I'm sure it gets a bit daunting after a while. So, how do you think the cast stays motivated out of those 3 shows?
You didn't hear Kevin what he said?
No.
He says it's because I yell at them. No, I come like, I don't know, like January, February, after we've practiced for a few months, and like it's the winter blahs, and it's hard for us to stay motivated. And so I get why they wouldn't be as motivated, but everybody's so keen come September, but then it starts to wane off, and then everybody just seems to kind of pick back up, and they realize that showtime is getting close, and they need to pull up their socks, and they come through. And sometimes I do get a little grouchy, as you have witnessed, Danny.
It is funny though. We'd always think like a month before the show, we're worried, oh my gosh, is this going to work this year? And then it all just comes together. Everybody, there is a bit of a lull in the middle of the rehearsals, but they're doing their moves. They know their moves. And then as it's close to showtime, everybody rallies, and the show comes together really quickly, just as we're getting worried about it.
And sometimes I know this from experience, because I was actually I had the honor of co-hosting in May of this year, so I know how daunting it can be. So the cast does a terrific job, and the crew is amazing. Get your Kleenex ready, Kathy. I was totally now I'm gonna get emotional too, and that never happens. So, I was totally blown away with the level of professionalism and just readiness to put on a good show for everyone. And I know that I know that I was the newbie on the blog, but it's amazing to me how quickly this opportunity felt like a family to me, because yeah. Kathy, do you want to weigh in on that?
No, because I'll probably start crying. But no, we quite often joke about our almost famous family, and I really, really, truly believe that it is. Like, the parents all come together, and they realize the types of opportunities that this is giving their children, and so they're very eager to help. They're very eager to support me and the rest, like the costume crew, and they're always stepping up to help do costume changes. And it's just, everybody just embraces everybody, and it's very heartwarming.
And to touch on what you just said there, Kath, you mentioned this earlier, but what has been the feedback from the parents of the cast members that their child or individual with a disability is involved in such a great show or a great organization?
Well, just the stories of, like I was saying before, that one cast member that, their family member had mentioned about not being, they hadn't smiled, and, they've started to smile again. And, hearing their parents say that, and, they do everything in their power to make sure that they get to practice, and because they know that it's important to them. The fact that they help out in order to make the show a success, because they know how important it is to their child. I asked some of the parents and cast members to write something, to get ready for tonight. And, one of the things that came back was that this was, and it wasn't even Robert, it was somebody else, that it was always their dream to be on stage. Yeah. And this has given them the opportunity to do that they might not necessarily have in a different way. So, it's just, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Kevin, I would ask Kathy this, but I feel like I've been asking her lots of questions.
Well, she's the brains of this operation for sure.
Oh dear.
So she's...
Yeah, but what going off of Kathy's last comment, how proud of you, how proud are you of the fact that this organization or this group stems from one person having a dream, and that it has grown into this huge success 20 years later?
It's an amazing story. Like, one person's dream has now become 30 people's dreams, and there's been cast members that have come and gone, and it's touched them too. Like, it just goes to show, if you have a dream and you try to pursue it, then it can become other people's goals as well and dreams. And it's just something every year. It's kind of magical when it unfolds on the stage and everybody's smiling, and the joy you see at the end of the show when everybody's waving at the crowd and jumping up and down and just showing their individuality. It's fantastic. So the fact one person's dream became this 20-year legacy now, it's awesome.
If you build it, they will come.
Yes, that's right.
Kathy, do you want to weigh in on that?
No, I think you said it very well.
Yeah. So if someone wants to be involved in the show, how do they do that?
They can just reach out to me, which you can put my contact information in the show notes if you want.
Will do, yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, there is an application form for cast members in order to join. And we don't necessarily, if the season has already kind of started, then they might have to wait until like the next season to be able to join. And it's not necessarily, like in chronological order as to who signs up first. Sometimes we have an abundance of females joined, and sometimes we're just looking for those male cast members. That doesn't mean that the female cast members are just shoved aside or the female applicants are shoved aside. But sometimes we're kind of looking for specific people. But I think we've never turned anybody away. It's just a matter of timing, really. But if somebody's interested in volunteering, we always could use more volunteers, either just during weekly practices to, become a cast member, or people helping during costume changes, or board members. We meet once a month as a board and, just kind of review how things are going and, that kind of thing. So we're always looking for board members too.
I think the best thing to do would be to come out and watch a show. If they think they might be interested, to come see a show and see what it involves and get the feel for it before going to.
Absolutely, and that's how despite the fact that I knew Kathy before and knew how awesome she is,
you're funny.
Yeah, that's how I became involved, and I must say that not this past show, but I have been coming to the shows for years, but there was something about this, something about the second last year, not this past year when I did it, but the year before, that I was sitting in the audience and I was like, hey, I wonder if I wonder if you I wonder if I could be involved in this somehow, and I knew I wasn't, well, I knew I couldn't sing, or I couldn't get but I knew that I was good at hosting So I reached out to you, and you gracefully gave me a shot, and here we are.
And you're
You did a great job.
Yeah.
We'll talk about a bit more about that in a minute here. But Kathy, do you see yourself stopping the almost famous players anytime soon, or are you just gonna keep going and going and going?
I hope. I don't see you stopping anytime soon. Yeah, I'm sure that even if I did stop, that there would be somebody there to take my place. And, we've had a few artistic directors through the years. Julie Kewick, like I said, she was the mastermind behind everything, and she stuck with it for a very long time. And we're very grateful that she did. And we've had other leaders like Lori Day Arrington and Liz Ludit. And then I came on board. So sometimes, we just need some fresh blood, and everybody, like, a different fork in the road leads us other places sometimes, right? So some people maybe haven't been able to stick with it as long as they maybe thought they could. And that's okay. So it just, sometimes we just need some fresh blood and leadership. And, so I feel like I have a few years left in me. But yeah, I do hope that somebody else would, take the reins and continue it, because it's a very worthwhile thing.
Speaking of fresh blood and leadership, do you have any cast members with you at the moment who have been with the group since the very beginning?
We still do have a few.
I'm going to be tested.
Oh dear. Sarah Foxton is one. Oh my goodness.
Now we're going to get in trouble if we forget one.
Yeah. It's always been in question, just in fairness, it's always been in question who the original members were.
What about Anthony?
Anthony was not one of the originals. He didn't come in for a few years. I feel like Jennifer Sanderson was close to one of the original members.
Travis, or is he?
Oh, we just did a slideshow for the 20-year anniversary, and I didn't memorize, when everybody started. But I do know for sure, Sarah Foxton is still the original members. Yeah. And forgive me if anybody is on here watching and I'm having a lapse, but I'm older now and I can't remember, some of the original members. So
it's amazing what you have done over the years, and I'm just thrilled to this that I'm a part of the family now, so
well, we're very grateful that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the crowd laugh so much in years. You were really funny up there.
Well, thank you. My speaking of me as co-host, I would be remiss if we didn't bring up my fabulous co-host, Mr. Doug Avery.
Doug's been at it for a while, for sure. He's been very good. He's very funny as well.
Yeah.
So how long has Doug been at it?
You're really testing my memory here.
Yeah.
Doug's been doing it since I've been involved, so he's been quite a while.
And I feel like we've had a couple different hosts before Doug, like Jim Reed from CBC.
Yeah.
I think. He was a host.
I'm just going off of what Doug told me, and he did tell me that a gentleman from CBC did it one year.
So yeah, we've had a couple different hosts, but Doug has definitely been the longest running, and we're so grateful for him. I have let Doug write his own script. I know Julie liked to write his script for him, and she was just mean in sometimes because she would get him to do tongue twisters, and like it was just, I felt bad for the man. It was very funny, but I just let Doug write his own script, and I feel like it's he
does a great job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I kind of felt bad for him because doing it yourself for a few years and then having a co-host, that can't be easy, but he did a great job with me, so thank you, Doug, if you're listening to this. I really appreciate it.
You guys were a great team, for sure.
Yeah.
And he's had other co-hosts in years past, but it had been a solo show for a couple of years, I guess. Now. So, no, it was nice. It was a very nicely added element to have you there. It was really good. The witty back and forth you guys had was good.
Kathy, not to toot my own horn, but maybe I should take this off the air, but I just want to ask you on the air what just this last year alone, what was the feedback from the audience to me coming in? Do you think
they loved it?
Yeah.
I loved it. And they all said that you and Doug worked very well together. So they were hoping that you'd come back. So, yeah.
Well, spoil alert, I am coming back in.
Good.
Yeah, so, okay, we're running a bit short on time here, but before we get to that, Kevin, if I may put you on the spot here, I want to touch briefly on your work with Special Olympics. Can you tell us what you do there and what's that all about?
With myself? Yeah, so Kathy kind of runs Special Olympics. We first met coaching floor hockey, though, and it's a lot of fun. I got a lot of joy out of coaching Special Olympics. And unfortunately, just life and kids and everything else got in the way. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like, but no, Special Olympics is a big passion of mine for sure. And it was a lot of fun going to tournaments and watching our team never win, but we had fun. And
they never won.
But it was, it's a lot of fun to watch and just going through different sports and trying different things, and bowling and floor hockey and bocce ball.
Yeah.
And different athletes have different strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing Jennifer get to the Olympics for bowling, that was
And
exciting.
Heather.
So, and Heather, yes, Heather too. Yeah. So, very exciting.
Awesome idea.
So if anybody wants to be involved in that too, they can contact me.
Yes, Kathy's the go-to for that too.
Yeah, and most of the almost famous players involved in both the Special Olympics and the almost famous, or what would you say about that? Yeah.
I say a good chunk of them are.
In different aspects, some would swim,
Yeah.
some would bowl, some would play bocce ball.
Yeah, but definitely a good hunk of them, or chunk of them, are involved in both. We also have an advocacy group called People Empowering People that a chunk of them are involved in that too. So, yeah, it's
something that Kathy runs out of the goodness of her heart. That's a great group, a great organization once a month, and they just get together and meet and talk about social events and things they can do to help their community. And it's a great group to get involved with for sure.
Do you have anything you want to add about that, Kath? Or
no, if anybody has any questions, they can just get in touch with me and I can fill them in on whatever. But yeah, we try to make sure that people are involved in their community, and that everybody can give back to, into their community in some way. So,
well, you do a great job with all of that. I'm sure. It was before we let you go for the evening, what would be your final message to our audience today?
Just come see our show, see what we're all about.
And the show is running from April 9th, April 6th, April 9th, and April 12th of 2026. Is that correct?
April 7th, 9th, and 12th. Yeah.
7th, 9th, and 12th.
Yeah. No, that's okay. You had me guessing there.
She was checking her phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
7th, 9th, and 12th. So, and it'll be at the Town Hall, the Wingham Town Hall Theater. It's already booked. So yeah, we're gearing up for next year already. So
hope to see lots of new faces out in the audience for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kathy and Kevin, and I look forward to next show. Next year's show is gonna be awesome. So thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Danny. It's been good to talk to you.
Yeah, and we will be right back, everyone. Peg wasn't that a great interview? I hope you learned something about the almost famous players, and I hope you come out and see the show next year. So if I will put Kathy's contact information in the show notes, so you can reach out to her with any questions that you may have, because I forgot to cover a bunch of things. So reach out to Kathy if you have any more questions, and I'm sure she'll be happy to point you in the right direction. So, and if you want to get in touch with me here at the show, my email address is possibilitiesshow@gmail.com. So, but for now, keep the gift out of disability, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.